I don't want babies to die. Shocking. Is this a controversial vegan opinion? Someone asked for, what was it, my top like 5 or 10 controversial vegan opinions. Oh, I also saw Cheap Lazy Vegan had something like that, controversial vegan opinions. So I'm gonna steal it from her. Backyard hens or eating eggs from rescued hens. I've talked before about not necessarily having a problem with that. If you have hens that you have rescued and they lay eggs, eating those eggs, I don't see any ethical issue with that. They may not be vegan in the dietary, sense of eating animal products, but they are certainly freegan, and again, I don't see any moral issue with that, which is the most important thing to me. Now, one argument I've seen against this is that chickens need the shells, that they eat them for calcium, so you are hurting their health by, taking the eggs for yourself. But it's not clear that the egg, if the chicken actually eats it, I think people assume that they always do or something, which is not the case. It's not clear if it's healthier than like other chicken food. Like with humans, a diet high in saturated fat likely contributes to heart disease, and chickens are prone to heart disease. So it's entirely plausible that removing the eggs instead of letting the chickens eat them is actually better for them. Basically, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good. Just because chickens are doing it doesn't mean it's actually good for chickens. And there's other questions, just quality of life questions that we should be asking of more traditional pets, cats and dogs as well. But living in someone's backyard, I imagine, would be better than dying in a shelter or in a slaughterhouse. Feeding cats and dogs vegan. It's not a simple yes, it's okay to feed cats and dogs vegan, but I've talked about it before, and I often get a lot of pushback from non-vegans and vegans that it is improper to feed dogs and particularly cats a vegan diet because naturally they are carnivores. Again, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't become okay to harm animals just because it's natural, just because naturally cats would eat animals. Not that there's anything natural about factory farms, which is where our pets' food comes from, or anything natural about, cats being invasive and just decimating local wildlife. So basically, in principle, pets should be vegan. The problem is one of practicality. For one thing, I think there are few trustworthy vegan brands. I wouldn't really feel comfortable feeding my pets. Most of them, some because they have actually shown themselves to be untrustworthy, but most just because they're smaller organizations. Cats are tough in particular, given the male cats, given the propensity for UTIs. I've talked about all this stuff before. And cats are picky. They're not necessarily going to eat any of the vegan food that you provide, and some dogs too. So for cats, at least, it seems like the best option. And certainly if I still had a cat, this is what I would do. And it's what I used to do with my cat, was to feed them food from large brands that is mostly grain and animal byproducts. There are professionally formulated vegetarian dog foods for dogs with allergies. They're not vegan because they do contain D3 from lanolin, but they're not affordable. Everybody is not going to be able to get them. And some of them, I think you actually have to get a prescription from your vet. I have a video on the issues with dog foods as well. I'll put any videos I reference in the description if you want more information. But whether or not you have an issue with the current state of pet food when it comes to, trying to feed dogs and cats vegan, I think it is a moral imperative for us to look for and to support better options, to support healthy vegan options for pets. I do not think it's morally acceptable to just say, well, they're carnivores, so we're just going to feed them meat forever and that's fine. So let's find better options. In vitro meat? That'd be pretty cool. Health arguments for veganism. If you've seen even 2 of my videos, this is not surprising at all. Health arguments for reducing certain animal products along with eating plant-based diet. That's fairly strong, Mediterranean type diet, Okinawan type diet. But comparing a diet with small amounts of animal products or low-fat dairy, certain fish to a vegan one, it's unlikely that there's going to be any meaningful difference between the two. It's unreasonable to think that there would be. And of course, the other vegan stuff like fur and leather, there's no health argument against that. People struggling to be vegan, and more than that, I think there are people who truly cannot be vegan, at least practically. I have a whole video on credible reasons. 10 reasons, I think. Of course, it's got to be 10. Having severe allergies to multiple plant foods clearly would make it very, very difficult, if not impossible, to meet your nutrient needs on a vegan diet. Small amounts of animal products in stuff. I really don't care. I really don't care about the source of things like monodiglycerides in bread or glycerin in shampoo, since they're present in such small amounts, and buying these products is not really influencing the industry. I don't really think this one is as controversial. PETA has talked about this before. They have a whole page on their website about this exact issue, talking about like micro ingredients or whatever they call it. And I think most vegans don't care. Like, I don't think very many vegans are looking at monodiglycerides or making sure that the glycerin in something is vegetable derived. But I have gotten shit for it in the past, so I thought I would mention it. Also, I wanted to say that I'm not totally consistent with this. There are still products that I don't consume, even though they technically would fall under this category. So something like chicken ramen, where the chicken powder or whatever is less than 2% of the product. It's like the last ingredient on the list. I still wouldn't feel comfortable. There was a creamer or something I saw. It was like no cream, no milk or anything in it. It was like predominantly palm oil, I think. And again, it was like less than 2% of the product had dairy. I guess it's just it's like a psychological thing for me, I guess. There's such a difference psychologically for me between seeing glycerin on a label and seeing chicken or milk. I know I like to come across as all rational. I'm absolutely prone to silly shit like that too. And that's okay. As long as you recognize it for what it is, I think that's okay. What the Health is a bad documentary. That's what I put in my notes. Is it a bad, in terms of a documentary, I think it is. I have a whole video on this already. Many of the vegan documentaries, unfortunately, are full of pseudoscience. Earthlings would be one exception, one of the vegan documentaries that doesn't get just like half or more of the claims wrong, which makes sense because they aren't really making scientific claims. It's focused on animal cruelty. Just show the footage, roll the clips. Pretty hard to dispute, other than saying, well, this isn't the norm. Okay, some worker kicking a chicken or whatever. No, that's not part of the manual or anything like that, but it is a clear and common consequence of being in that environment, being paid so little, being in such a stressful job. Probably the type of people who are drawn or will accept that work, I'm sure, are maybe more likely to be aggressive or have certain propensities. And even if you ignore all that, just looking at the standard procedures, the things that are supposed to happen, like, I don't know, grinding up male chickens to death? Cruel, maybe? I don't know. Sorry, I got real feisty with that. I don't, it's really annoying to me when people are like, well, this isn't normal operating procedure. This is just this one person. Let's blame this one poor individual who works one of the worst jobs in the world. Like, let's put it all on him. He's the only one being cruel. The rest of the industry is perfectly fine. The whole operation is pristine. Criticizing other vegans, obviously I have no problem with that. A lot of the videos on my channel are responses to other people, other vegans, and criticizing what they say. I have no problem with other people not doing that. I think it's really important that there are different vegan people and, different content and different channels, because I think we're more likely to reach people if there are lots of different personalities and lots of different, types of content and whatnot. So I'm glad there are a lot of channels that are just focused on, recipes and meal planning and stuff like that. And I don't think it would be good for just every vegan channel to focus on, criticizing or policing the movement. But obviously that's what I've chosen to do because that's just me, I guess. And that's another thing too. I think a lot of people would be genuinely unhappy doing that and getting criticized for it, right? And getting the pushback and everything. A lot of people can't handle that sort of stuff, and it would make them really, really unhappy. And I don't want that for anyone. So yeah. But clearly I've made it the focus of this channel, or a big part of this channel, because again, it's just like my personality. It's how I've always been. I I can't just sit and stay quiet about something that's wrong. I've got to point it out. And, I'd be remiss to not say that obviously I am incentivized to do this. I make money putting out a video that's responding to someone. 9 times out of 10, if I do a response video, it's going to do better than a what I ate today or like some recipe video or whatever other crap I put on the channel. Oh, and also, like, I don't, I'm not friends with, like, any vegan influencers or anything, so that also makes it easy for me to, like, point out stupid stuff that people say because I don't have any sort of, like, relationship with people, whereas other vegan influencers do, so obviously that's gonna be more difficult. But yeah, basically, just like I think it's important to have channels that are just focused on, like, positive, recipes and beautiful whatever and vlogs and all that kind of stuff. I also think it's important to have the opposite of that. The negative Nancy shit. You know what I mean? I think it is important to have at least someone pointing out that, like, hey, that's not actually true, and kind of, policing the movement. I don't know if I like that phrase so much, but I think you know what I mean. And I like doing it. I mean, I really do enjoy going through a video and, not like, oh, you did that wrong, but just, hearing from other people and like, oh, I don't know if that's right or not. And sometimes it is. Like 9 times out of 10, I learn something new from videos that I critique. So yeah, I genuinely enjoy doing that. And I don't know, just the thought of like that French toast video I just put up. If you told me that's the kind of shit I had to make for the rest of my existence on YouTube and only that, no. Like, I would never make another video again. That took so much work, but a lot of people said they wanted it, and so I did it for you. You're welcome. But, like, it sucked. It sucked. And trying to get the stupid picture, like, it was so much work. I took one, and it was awful. It just, like, I even made a little strawberry syrup thing. It just looked so stupid. And then the one I finally ended up with looked kind of okay. It's not, like, super in focus, because of course not. It just took so much work for such a, like, simple recipe. So I can't even imagine for, like, anything more complicated than that. Oh my gosh. No. But recording and everything, that's my least favorite part. Like even this, I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't mind the scripting part. I mean, sometimes it's like, I don't want to do this. And the editing part, I don't mind all that stuff. It's just this, just sitting here and talking and gotta try and look presentable and whatever. Ugh. Which I say that, I don't like talking, but then I make videos so much longer than they need to be because I just keep talking, so maybe I'm a liar. Protein, of course. This is one I get shit on. I mean, a lot of people are like kind of joking, you're obsessed with protein, but some people are really like, no, you're obsessed with protein. It's a problem. Yeah, look, you don't automatically get enough protein just by eating enough calories. I'm sorry. High fiber diet reduces absorption of protein, so vegans likely need more protein than the RDA, and there are physicians and researchers who are pushing to increase the RDA just for regular folk, for omnivores too. So yeah, if you're not mixing proteins, if you're not eating a variety of foods and eating enough beans and whatnot, you're probably going to need even more protein because the quality of protein that you're eating is going to be fairly poor. I aim for around 100 grams of protein a day. I like doing that because, number one, satiation. Number two, I don't have to worry about lysine or anything else because I'm getting so much. I don't really have to worry about the quality of my protein, although I do like to focus on higher quality. But I can eat a lot of wheat and not worry about it because I'm getting so much over the RDA. Vegan kids and malnutrition. I believe this is an issue. I think we should talk about it. I don't think it should be ignored. A well-planned vegan diet is suitable for all ages, but kids can be picky and not all parents are good at planning nutrition or even like understanding nutrition, not very knowledgeable. There's also way too much anti-supplement shit within the vegan community, and that just makes me really nervous when these people start procreating, and this is why we keep seeing cases of malnourished vegan kids. I think it's important to talk about what happened, why it happened, why it went wrong, because often there is a clear they were fed a homemade formula or something, or there was no B12 supplementation. I don't think we should ignore it or act like it's just not a problem, and certainly not respond with like, omnivore kids get sick too. And I also think it's important to point out vegan influencers who are promoting inadequate diets for children and, parading their kids around and making money off of them. But that's a separate issue. Even if their kids look fine, which is something I hear a lot, their kids look so healthy. Number one, looks does not equal health. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You can't necessarily see a B12 deficiency. And two, other kids who end up on these diets because their parents want to follow said influencer and do what they're doing and end up feeding their kids these low protein, high volume diets, they might not be so lucky. And I've heard from people saying exactly that they've been in these vegan parenting forums or groups on Facebook or whatever, and they see failure to thrive quite a bit. Again, sorry if I'm getting a little testy, but it is an area as a mommy and just as a person, I don't want babies to die. Shocking. Is this a controversial vegan opinion? I don't want babies to die. I don't want them to become permanently disabled because their parents didn't give them B12 or didn't give them calcium. And I guess that's another controversial opinion that I didn't put on here. So I guess that would be number 11, whatever. It's related. I don't think people should be feeding their kids vegan without the help of their pediatrician and dietitian, knowledgeable dietitians who understand vegan nutrition, which I know is really hard to find, but it's more complicated than I think a lot of people believe, and I think a lot of well-meaning educators make it out to be. Yeah, I mean, not to be, I don't know, I've been doing this a long time, and it is very clear that many vegans are not nearly as knowledgeable as I am when it comes to vegan nutrition, particularly vegan nutrition for kids. So it just makes me personally very uncomfortable, the idea that there are vegans out there just feeding their kids vegan. It makes me very uncomfortable without having some sort of guidance. I mean, as I've said before, overall good resources on feeding kids vegan don't even talk about iodine. Anyway, I have a video on that too, if you're interested. So this one is kind of a two-parter. It's a little bit more nuanced, maybe. I don't like the whole ex-vegans were never really vegan. I believe ex-vegans were vegan. I guess you could say some of them were plant-based in that they were just doing it for health, reasons. There's certainly people who don't care about ethics or environment or anything like that. They only do it for dietary reasons. But there are plenty of ex-vegans who previously talked about animal ethics and seemed to me like they really did care. As I said recently, I think it makes people very uncomfortable to think about how could someone care and then not care. Could that happen to me? Because I care, I do. So could I stop caring? No, that's not possible. They had to have been lying. They never cared in the first place. People get jaded. People burn out. You don't know what's going on in their everyday lives. Whatever they say in their video isn't necessarily true. They could be dealing with social issues or family issues or whatever that just makes it hard for them to be vegan or even makes it hard for them to care. And I think that can happen to any of us, honestly. People can start caring. They can stop caring. They can even make the same bad arguments that they used to rail against. The same bad arguments for not being vegan that they used to argue against when they were vegan. They can just completely ignore or even forget those arguments because they don't matter to them anymore. They don't correspond to their actions anymore. So that was the first part, that ex-vegans were vegan. However, ex-vegans' reasons for quitting are often suspect, is the best way I can say that. They often make incredibly bad arguments. Again, often arguments that they were previously able to argue against fairly effectively. So it makes it hard for me to believe that they're actually convinced by these arguments, as if they're hearing them for the first time and they haven't really thought about it, but whoever told them was very convincing. No, they're familiar with these arguments and the counter arguments. So I find it very unlikely they actually believe it. I think that they had stopped caring and they were looking for reasons to explain why they're no longer vegan rather than saying, I don't care anymore. Because who's going to say that? Who's going to say, I just don't care anymore? I don't care about animals anymore. Trisha Paytas, didn't she have a video where she was like, I don't like animals? Like, I mean, she's awful, but hey, man, honest sometimes. Another reason I find their reasons, and the health claims usually is what it is, health claims. If the person says, I can't be vegan anymore because I'm not healthy on a vegan diet, I need to eat animal products. And then months later, they're eating non-vegan junk food. They're wearing leather. What does that have to do with health? Now, to be fair, it could have happened as they went along, right? So maybe originally it was just about health, and so they start eating, fish or whatever, and then the longer they do that, the easier it becomes to, well, I can have, this cookie or whatever that has milk in it, and well, hey, what about this leather jacket? And hey, wool is really comfortable, and before you know it, you're just like, it's fine. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that any of these people are bad people. It's just human nature. It's really hard to continue to care about things, especially when it means doing things, right? It's so easy to say like, yeah, SeaWorld, fuck SeaWorld, because how does that affect your life? Are you going to SeaWorld? Probably not. But eating animal products, usually at like every single meal, and then not doing that and having to say no to things like a lot. Yeah, it can really wear on someone. So yeah, I'm not saying these people are bad people, or that they're lying even. Our brains are really stupid, and we're really, really good at convincing ourselves that we're doing something for a certain reason when really we're not. We're rationalizing. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your controversial vegan opinions, I guess. And subscribe, support the channel, patreon.com/unnaturalvegan, onlyfans.com/unnaturalvegan. Don't worry, I'm just talking about stuff. It's nothing, it's no boobs or anything. Or sorry, I don't know, it's whatever you're looking for. Sorry or not sorry. I have an Amazon store page. I'm just going to add, in like a year, I'm going to have like 10 things at the end of my video, just like promoting shit. But I have an Amazon store page now where I have affiliate links for stuff. Ooh, thanks again. I should have a new video pretty soon. I don't know what I'm going to do for the background. Help me! Help me! What should I do? Someone said, oh man, I scratched my finger with my own finger. I do this all the time. It's so dumb. It was like bleeding and everything. Anyway, someone said like a tapestry or something, fabric or something hung behind me. I know some of the like beauty people, YouTubers. Didn't Jenna Marbles come up with that? Oh, you know what? I haven't watched the last like year of her stuff either. So I still have a bunch of Jenna Marbles that I can watch, but it's almost like, it's like knowing the end of Game of Thrones is bad and you haven't caught up, you've missed like the last season. It's like, well, do I even watch it now? I don't know. I feel like knowing that she's just done, I don't know, it just makes me sad to even go back and watch them. But anyway, I thought about doing that. I don't know. Partner said I should ask, people, any of you who do art, who do the art stuff, maybe if you want to make something. I don't know. How does that work? That seems like, I don't know. I don't want to ask, I'll pay you if you do, I'm not just like, hey, make me stuff to put on my wall, because I don't want to go out and buy shit and figure it out. So just do something, No, I'll pay you if you make something and I like it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how any of this works. I don't want to like commission stuff because I don't know what I want, and I don't want to waste people's time and they make something and I'm like, no, actually I don't like it, but I don't know why I don't like it. I just don't like it. So do something else. Ask partner. That's how I am. I'm absolutely the worst client when it comes to anything like this. So I don't know. Point is, I don't know. Help me. Kids wanted to have a dance party. And I thought, I won't get too sweaty. Sure, I just put on my makeup. I'm about to go record. Like, it'll be fine. Well, I sweat a lot. So, of course, within the first, 5 minutes, I'm just drenched. It's been several minutes, and I'm still just, God dang it. I cannot cool down.